The stars shimmered against the black emptiness of space as Olivia Summers stood on the bridge of the USS Defiant. Her blue uniform fit snugly around her tall frame, the captain's insignia gleaming under the soft lights. Through the main view screen, she watched the strange objects that had appeared near Pluto 3 days ago. "Any response to our messages?" Olivia asked, her voice steady despite the tension in the room. Communications Officer Daniel White shook his head. "Nothing yet, Captain. We've tried all standard frequencies and first contact protocols. The objects had first been spotted by the Pluto Research Station. 12 massive ships, each one shaped like a perfect diamond and glowing with an eerie blue light. They had simply appeared, without warning, at the edge of the solar system." "Lieutenant Commander Harper, what's your assessment?" Olivia turned to her tactical officer. Jack Harper was studying the sensor readings with intense focus. His dark eyes narrowed as he looked up. "Those ships are unlike anything we've ever seen, Captain. The outer hull appears to be some sort of crystalline material. Energy readings are off the charts." Dr. Eleanor Wright, the ship's xenobiologist, joined them at the main console. Her red hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and she had dark circles under her eyes from 3 days of non-stop work. "Captain, I've been analyzing their movement patterns. It's deliberate, methodical. They're scanning every inch of our outer system." Olivia nodded. Humanity had spread throughout the solar system over the past 50 years. Mars was now home to 3 million people. The moons of Jupiter and Saturn hosted mining colonies and research stations. Until now, humans had believed they were alone in their corner of the galaxy. "Admiral Bennett is calling from Earth Command," Daniel announced. The view screen changed to show Admiral George Bennett's weathered face. At 62, he had led Earth's United Military Forces for over a decade. "Captain Summers, what's your status?" "We're maintaining position at the edge of Neptune's orbit, Admiral. The visitors haven't responded to any communication attempts." Bennett's expression grew grim. "We've received a transmission here at Earth Command. It wasn't sent specifically to us. It appears to be a broad signal meant for the entire system." "What did it say?" Olivia asked. "We're still working on the translation, but Dr. Miller's team believes it's a demand for surrender." A heavy silence fell over the bridge. "Surrender? We haven't even established proper contact," Dr. Wright said. Admiral Bennett nodded. The message included references to something called the Krelgorian Empire, and mentioned that resistance is, he paused, looking down at his notes, futile and historically unsuccessful for 17 prior species. Jack Harper cursed under his breath. "They're conquerors." "It would appear so," Bennett agreed. "Captain Summers, I want the Defiant to maintain observation distance. Do not engage. All other military vessels are being mobilized, but it will take time. Earth's United Fleet is scattered throughout the system." "Understood, Admiral." After the transmission ended, Olivia turned to her crew. "Let's not jump to conclusions. Continue monitoring and..." An alarm blared across the bridge. On the view screen, one of the diamond ships had broken formation and was moving toward Pluto. "They're accelerating," Jack reported, his fingers flying, across the tactical console. "Heading directly for Pluto Research Station." The Pluto station was home to 87 scientists and their families, over 120 people in total. "Open a channel to the station," Olivia ordered. "Tell them to evacuate immediately." Daniel worked frantically at his console. "Channel open, Captain. Pluto Research Station, this is Captain Summers of the USS Defiant. Unknown vessels approaching your position. Begin emergency evacuation procedures immediately." The station director's concerned face appeared on screen. "Captain, our long-range sensors just picked them up too. We're initiating evacuation, but our shuttles need at least 20 minutes to..." A blinding flash of light filled the view screen. When it cleared, where Pluto's research station had been, there was now only debris floating in the void. "My God," Dr. Wright whispered. Jack's voice was tight with controlled anger. "The alien vessel fired some kind of energy weapon. The entire station, it's just gone." Olivia gripped the arms of her chair. Over 100 people had just been wiped out without warning. Send all sensor data to Earth Command. Tell Admiral Bennett what happened. Within the hour, Admiral Bennett addressed the entire solar system. The message was simple. Earth was under attack by an alien force called the Krelgorian Empire. All civilian ships were ordered to seek safety at the nearest defensive installation. All military vessels were to prepare for combat. 2 days later, 3 more research outposts in the outer system had been destroyed. The Krelgorian ships moved with terrifying efficiency, their crystal hulls seemingly impervious to the few desperate attacks Earth forces had attempted. On the Defiant, Dr. Wright made a discovery. "Captain, look at this." She pointed to a pattern on her screen. "I've been analyzing their communications. There's something unusual about the electromagnetic signatures they use." Olivia studied the display. "What am I looking at, Doctor?" "Their communications create distinct patterns in the electromagnetic spectrum, almost like music, and when they fire their weapons, the pattern changes in a specific way." Jack leaned closer. "Are you saying their technology is based on some form of electromagnetic resonance?" "Precisely," Eleanor nodded. "And if that's true, it might give us a way to disrupt their systems." At that moment, Chief Engineer Sam Rodriguez burst onto the bridge. His uniform was rumpled and his curly hair stuck out at odd angles, but his eyes were bright with excitement. "Captain, I've been studying the debris from the destroyed outposts. The crystalline material of their ships. It has a harmonic frequency. If we hit it with precisely the right sound waves, we might be able to crack it." Olivia looked between the engineer and the xenobiologist. "Are you both suggesting what I think you're suggesting?" Eleanor nodded slowly. "Their technology appears to be based on harmony and resonance, but every harmonic system has a disruptive frequency. A weakness," Jack added. For the first time since the diamond ships had appeared, Olivia felt a flicker of hope. She activated the ship-wide communication system. "This is Captain Summers. I need all science and engineering personnel to report to Conference Room 1 immediately. Tactical team leaders as well." She turned to Jack. "We need to get this information to Admiral Bennett. If we can find a way to disrupt their technology, we might have a chance," Jack finished. As the crew rushed to their new assignments, Olivia looked back at the view screen where the distant diamond ships glowed against the blackness of space. Their fleet was supposed to be invincible. That's what their message had claimed. 17 species had fallen before them, but they had never faced humans before, and humanity wasn't going down without a fight. 1 week after the victory at Europa, the mood across the solar system had changed. Fear gave way to determination as humanity prepared to fight back. Ships of all sizes were being fitted with the disruptor technology that Sam Rodriguez had developed. Scientists worked around the clock to better understand the Krelgorian technology recovered from the damaged ship. Vice Admiral Paul Martinez stood in the command center on Mars, studying the holographic display of the solar system. Red dots marked known positions of Krelgorian vessels. Blue dots showed human military ships. At 55 years old, Martinez was known for his strategic mind. He had spent the last 3 days planning humanity's counterattack. "The Krelgorians are regrouping," he observed, pointing to a cluster of red dots near Saturn. "They've never faced resistance before. Now they need to change their plans." Dr. Amanda Foster nodded. She was the lead scientist developing new weapons based on the aliens' weaknesses. "That gives us time to prepare. The new sonic disruptors are ready for testing. They should be more effective than the prototype used on Europa." "How many ships have been equipped?" Martinez asked. 43 so far, another 30 by the end of the day." Martinez nodded with satisfaction. "Good. The Krelgorians think they know what we're capable of. Time to show them they're wrong." On the other side of the room, Lieutenant Ryan Cooper studied the schematics for his new fighter craft. The Wasp was smaller than standard fighters, but it carried a powerful disruptor cannon and had enhanced speed. Ryan, at 28, was the youngest pilot chosen for the experimental squadron. "Think she'll fly?" asked Sergeant Heather Phillips as she approached. The ground forces specialist had been training teams to fight Krelgorians in case of a land invasion. Ryan grinned. "Like nothing they've ever seen before. These wasps can outmaneuver anything the Krelgorians have. They'll never know what hit them. Martinez called everyone to attention. The Krelgorians have sent a message. They're bringing reinforcements from outside the system. We need to strike before they arrive. The Admiral outlined his plan. 3. Battle groups would target the main Krelgorian fleet near Saturn. A smaller, faster strike team led by Captain Olivia Summers would attack what they believed was a command ship. Meanwhile, Ryan's squadron of wasps would provide support and test their effectiveness against the alien vessels. We move in 18 hours, Martinez concluded. Get some rest while you can. As the meeting ended, Dr. Foster approached Ryan. Lieutenant, I've made some final adjustments to the disruptor cannons on your fighters. They should be even more effective now. Ryan nodded. We'll put them to good use, Doctor. 18 hours later, humanity launched its first coordinated attack against the Krelgorian fleet. Near Saturn's rings, the 3 main battle groups engaged the largest concentration of alien ships. The massive crystalline vessels fired their blue energy weapons, but the human ships were ready, using evasive maneuvers developed specifically for this fight. Ryan Cooper led his squadron of 12 Wasp fighters toward a group of smaller Krelgorian vessels. His heart pounded as he gave the order to attack. Wasp Squadron, engage targets at will. Remember your training. The nimble fighters darted between the larger alien ships, firing their disruptor cannons at close range. Where conventional weapons had once bounced harmlessly off the crystalline hulls, the disruptors caused immediate damage. Cracks spread across the alien vessels as the fighters zoomed past. It's working, Ryan shouted into his comm. Target their engines. The wasps flew in coordinated patterns, drawing enemy fire while creating openings for their teammates. 3. Krelgorian ships shattered within minutes, their broken pieces drifting into Saturn's rings. Meanwhile, Captain Olivia Summers led the USS Defiant on its mission to target the command vessel. The sleek ship approached from behind one of Saturn's moons, using the natural cover to hide their approach. Distance to target? Olivia asked, her voice calm despite the tension. 8,000 kilometers, replied Jack Harper. They haven't detected us yet, Olivia nodded. Take us in slow, charge all disruptors. The Defiant glided silently toward the large diamond-shaped ship that intelligence had identified as a command vessel. It was nearly twice the size of the other Krelgorian ships, with a deeper blue glow. We're in range, Jack announced. Fire, all disruptors, Olivia ordered. Multiple beams shot from the Defiant, striking the command ship at precisely calculated points. The crystalline hull vibrated visibly as the disruptors found their resonant frequency. Cracks appeared, spreading rapidly across its surface. But the command ship wasn't defenseless. It turned with surprising speed and fired back, striking the Defiant's port side. Shields at 60%, Jack called out. Evasive maneuvers, Olivia commanded. Circle around and hit them again. As the Defiant banked away, the communication system crackled to life. This is Wasp Leader to Defiant. Need some help? Ryan's squadron of fighters appeared on the sensors, racing toward them. Perfect timing, Wasp Leader, Olivia replied. Target the command ship's central section. The wasps swarmed around the huge Krelgorian vessel, firing their disruptors in perfect sequence. The effect was devastating. The command ship's hull cracked further, and its blue glow flickered wildly. Something's happening, Eleanor Wright observed from her science station. The other Krelgorian ships, they're becoming disorganized. On the tactical display, the patterns of the alien fleet changed. Some ships stopped moving entirely. Others began firing randomly, sometimes hitting their own allies. That confirms our theory, Eleanor said excitedly. Disrupt the command ship and the others lose coordination. Across the battlefield, human ships pressed their advantage. The Krelgorian fleet that had seemed invincible just weeks ago was now in disarray. Vice Admiral Martinez watched from his command center as the battle unfolded. Send in the second wave, he ordered. Hit them while they're confused. More human ships joined the fight, targeting the now vulnerable alien vessels. Within hours, nearly a third of the Krelgorian fleet had been destroyed or disabled. As the remaining alien ships retreated to regroup, Martinez received a transmission from deep space monitoring stations. "Sir, we're detecting multiple objects entering the system from the direction of Alpha Centauri. Based on their energy signatures, it's Krelgorian reinforcements." Martinez's expression remained determined. "So they called for help. Good. That means we hurt them." He turned to face his officers. "We've proven they can be beaten. Now we need to prepare for round 2. Across the solar system, the news spread quickly. Humanity had won its first major battle against the alien invaders, but the war was far from over. As Captain Summers watched the retreating enemy ships from the bridge of the Defiant, Eleanor Wright approached her. "We collected some interesting data during the battle," the scientist said. "It seems the Krelgorians are sending some kind of distress signal. I think we've done more than just surprise them. We've scared them." Olivia nodded, a small smile forming on her lips. "Good. Let's keep them scared." 3 days after discovering the potential weakness in the Krelgorian ships, Chief Engineer Sam Rodriguez barely left his workshop. Empty coffee cups littered his workbench as he tinkered with a modified communications array. His dark hair was messy, and his eyes were red from lack of sleep. "This has to work," he muttered to himself as he adjusted a small dish-shaped device. The door slid open, and Captain Olivia Summers walked in. Despite the pressure of command, she maintained her composure, though the dark circles under her eyes betrayed her exhaustion. "Any progress, Sam?" she asked. Sam held up the small device with pride. "I think we've got something, Captain. Dr. Wright's theory about electromagnetic disruption gave me an idea. This is a modified radio transmitter that can broadcast at precisely the frequency that should disrupt their crystalline structure." "Should?" Olivia raised an eyebrow. "Well, we won't know for sure until we test it." Sam shrugged. "But the math checks out." Throughout the solar system, the situation was growing dire. The Krelgorians had destroyed 3 mining stations near Saturn and were methodically working their way inward. Their fleet had split into smaller groups, making them harder to track. Earth's military vessels were fighting back, but their weapons barely scratched the alien ships. On the bridge of the USS Defiant, Communications Officer Daniel White monitored transmissions from across the system. "Captain, we're receiving a distress call from Europa Mining Colony," he reported as Olivia returned to the bridge. "They're under attack." "How far are we?" Olivia asked. Lieutenant Commander Jack Harper checked the navigation console. 4 hours at maximum speed, Captain." Olivia's jaw tightened. "Set course for Europa. Alert Admiral Bennett about our plans to test the new device." As the Defiant raced toward Jupiter's icy moon, Dr. Eleanor Wright joined Olivia in her ready room. The xenobiologist placed a tablet on the desk. "We've been analyzing the patterns of attack," Eleanor explained. "The Krelgorians aren't just destroying targets at random. They're systematically eliminating our infrastructure. Communications arrays, power stations, military outposts. It's like they're following a playbook. A playbook that's worked 17 times before," Olivia said grimly. Eleanor nodded. "But that might be their weakness. I don't think they've ever encountered a species at exactly our level of development before. They seem confused by some of our responses." Before Olivia could reply, Jack's voice came over the intercom. "Captain, to the bridge. We're approaching Europa." When they arrived, a Krelgorian ship was hovering over the mining colony. Its blue crystal surface gleamed in the light reflected from Jupiter. Smaller attack vessels swarmed around it, firing at the colony's defensive shields. "Battle stations," Olivia ordered. "Sam, is your device ready?" Sam nodded nervously. "As ready as it'll ever be, Captain. But we need to get close, within 5 kilometers. "That's practically point-blank range," Jack protested. "It's our only shot," Olivia said. "Helm, take us in." Evasive pattern Delta. The Defiant swooped toward the much larger Krelgorian vessel. The alien ship immediately detected them and turned to intercept, firing brilliant beams of blue energy. "Shields at 70%, Jack called out as the ship shuddered. "Hold course," Olivia commanded, gripping her chair arms. "Sam, stand by with that device." The Defiant rocked violently as another blast struck them. "Shields at 40%. Distance to target? Olivia asked. 7 kilometers and closing, the helmsman reported. Sam's fingers flew over his console. Device charged and ready, Captain. 5 kilometers, the helmsman announced. Fire, Olivia ordered. Sam activated the device. Nothing visible happened, but a strong vibration ran through the ship as the modified transmitter sent out its pulse. For a moment, nothing changed. Then, a small crack appeared on the surface of the Krelgorian vessel. The crack spread quickly, branching out like lightning across the crystalline hull. It's working, Sam shouted. The enormous alien ship shuddered as more cracks appeared. The blue glow flickered and dimmed. Suddenly, a section of the hull shattered completely, exposing the interior to space. Target their weapon systems, Olivia ordered. Fire conventional torpedoes. The Defiant launched a volley of torpedoes that streaked toward the damaged alien ship. They struck the weakened hull, causing massive secondary explosions. The smaller ships are retreating, Jack reported with amazement. Olivia didn't waste time celebrating. Get me Admiral Bennett. Within hours, news of the Defiant's success spread throughout the system. For the first time since the invasion began, humanity had damaged a Krelgorian ship. Back at Earth Command, Admiral George Bennett gathered his top officers and scientists. The room buzzed with cautious optimism as Sam and Eleanor presented their findings. The key is disrupting their harmonic frequency, Sam explained, pointing to diagrams on the large screen. Their entire technology is based on resonance patterns. Hit them with the right counter frequency, and their hull integrity fails. Can we replicate this device for other ships? Admiral Bennett asked. Already working on it, Sam replied. But there's more good news. Major Lisa Coleman's team managed to board the damaged Krelgorian vessel near Europa. Major Coleman stepped forward. The Marine commander's uniform was still dusty from the boarding action. We recovered several pieces of alien technology and downloaded data from their systems. Dr. Kelly's team is analyzing it now. Dr. Nathan Kelly, a physicist with round glasses and nervous hands, pulled up a new diagram. Their command structure is hierarchical. Each ship in a group is linked to a central command vessel. Disrupt that vessel and the others become less coordinated. A murmur of excitement ran through the room. Admiral Bennett stood up. This is the break we've been waiting for. I want all ships equipped with these disruptor devices as quickly as possible. For the first time, we have a fighting chance. As the meeting dispersed, Olivia found herself standing next to Jack. You know they'll adapt to our countermeasures, Jack said quietly. Olivia nodded. That's what I'm counting on. The Krelgorians have never had to adapt before. They've never faced real resistance. But humans... She smiled grimly. Adaptation is what we do best. On the view screen at the front of the room, a live feed showed damaged Krelgorian ships retreating from Europa. The Invincible fleet suddenly looked vulnerable, and humanity was just getting started. The reinforcement fleet from the Krelgorian Empire arrived 3 days after humanity's first victory. Twice as large as the original invasion force, the new fleet formed a barrier between Earth and Mars. Their diamond ships glittered in the sunlight, more numerous than before but now a source of determination rather than fear for the humans watching them. In the Oval Office of the United Earth Government Building, President Karen Walsh studied the holographic display showing the positions of both fleets. At 58, she had led Earth through economic challenges and political tensions but never a war for survival. They're not attacking immediately, she observed. Why? General Kevin Mitchell, a tall man with broad shoulders and gray hair, pointed to a cluster of signals. They're being cautious now. We bloodied their nose and they didn't expect that. They're reassessing. Lieutenant Maria Diaz, recently promoted for her intelligence work on Krelgorian behavior, stepped forward. Madam President, we believe they're waiting for instructions from their higher command. The data we've gathered suggests their decision-making is highly centralized. President Walsh nodded. How much time does that give us? Perhaps 2 days, maybe 3, General Mitchell replied. We're using every minute to equip more ships with disruptors and train more pilots. In a laboratory deep beneath the lunar surface, Dr. Benjamin Russell examined recordings of Krelgorian communications. As an expert in alien psychology, he had been trying to understand how the invaders thought. "Look at this pattern," he said to Dr. Eleanor Wright, who had joined him from the Defiant. "Their communication becomes more complex when they're uncertain. It's like they need more information to make decisions when things don't go according to plan." Eleanor leaned closer to the screen. "They've conquered 17 species before us, but I bet none of those species fought back effectively. The Krelgorians don't know how to handle resistance," Ben nodded excitedly. "Exactly. Their psychology seems built around absolute certainty. They expect to win because they always have. When that certainty is shaken, they become vulnerable," Eleanor finished. This insight was quickly shared with Earth's military command. Admiral Bennett and his officers incorporated it into their strategy for the coming battle. Meanwhile, aboard the USS Defiant, Captain Olivia Summers briefed her crew on their next mission. "Intelligence believes there's a super command ship among the reinforcements," she explained, pointing to a larger signature on the tactical display. "It coordinates all other command ships. If we can disable it, we might disrupt their entire fleet at once." Jack Harper frowned. "It'll be heavily guarded. How do we get close enough?" Sam Rodriguez grinned. "I've been working on that." The engineer pulled up schematics on a nearby screen. "We've modified our shields to emit the same energy signature as a Krelgorian vessel. Not perfect, but it might fool their sensors long enough for us to get within striking distance." "A disguise," Olivia said with approval. "Good work, Sam." As Earth prepared for the coming battle, the Krelgorian fleet finally began to move. Their ships formed a perfect geometric pattern, advancing toward Earth with mathematical precision. President Walsh authorized Operation Thunderstrike, the coordinated defense plan developed by General Mitchell and Vice Admiral Martinez. "All ships, this is Earth Command," Admiral Bennett's voice transmitted across the human fleet. "Execute Operation Thunderstrike. May courage and ingenuity guide us all." The human fleet moved into position, seemingly scattered and disorganized compared to the perfect formations of the Krelgorians. But this was part of the plan. Lieutenant Ryan Cooper led his squadron of WASP fighters on the first attack run. "Remember, hit and run only. Don't stay in their firing range." The nimble fighters darted through the edges of the Krelgorian formation, firing disruptors at specific targets before quickly retreating. The aliens responded predictably, sending pursuit ships after them, exactly as planned. As portions of the alien fleet broke formation to chase the fighters, larger human vessels moved into the gaps, targeting the command ships that had been identified by intelligence. The USS Defiant, meanwhile, approached the super command ship under its disguised shields. The massive diamond vessel sat at the center of the Krelgorian formation, nearly 3 times larger than regular command ships. "Holding steady," Olivia said quietly. "Distance to target?" 12,000 kilometers in closing, Jack reported. "Disguise is holding so far." "Disruptors charged and ready," Sam added from engineering. On the science station, Eleanor monitored the alien communications. "Captain, I'm picking up increased chatter. I think they're suspicious." "How long until we're in range?" Olivia asked. 3 minutes, Jack replied. Eleanor suddenly straightened. "They've spotted us. They're ordering an intercept." "Full speed ahead," Olivia commanded. "We won't get another chance at this. All crew brace for impact." The Defiant surged forward as enemy fire began to hit their shields. The disguise fell away, but they continued their rush toward the super command ship. "Shields at 40%, Jack called out. "Keep going," Olivia ordered. "Sam, prepare to fire all disruptors on my mark." The Defiant shuddered under the barrage but maintained its course directly toward the heart of the alien fleet. "In range!" Sam shouted. "Fire!" Olivia commanded. Multiple disruptor beams shot from the Defiant, striking the super command ship at its most vulnerable points. The crystalline surface of the massive vessel began to vibrate, cracks spreading across its perfect geometric form. But the damage to the Defiant was severe. Alarms blared throughout the ship as systems failed. "Shields, critical. Hull breach on deck 4, Jack reported. "Evasive maneuvers," Olivia ordered. "Get us out of here. As the Defiant limped away, the effects of their attack became apparent across the battlefield. The Super Command ship's blue glow flickered and dimmed. Cracks spread across its surface like spider webs. More importantly, the perfect formation of the Krelgorian fleet began to collapse. Some ships stopped moving entirely. Others began firing randomly, hitting their allies. Several command ships suddenly turned and fled, while others continued attacking but with no coordination. "It's working," Eleanor exclaimed. "Their command structure is breaking down." Throughout the solar system, human forces pressed their advantage. The Krelgorian fleet that had seemed unstoppable was now in chaos. In the midst of the battle, something unexpected happened. 3 Krelgorian vessels turned their weapons on a larger command ship, destroying it completely. "Are they fighting among themselves?" Jack asked in disbelief. Eleanor studied her readings with growing excitement. "It's more than that. I think some of them are rebelling. Without the Super Command ship maintaining control, on Earth, President Walsh and her advisors watched the battle unfold with hope. The Invincible Armada was falling apart before their eyes. "General Mitchell," she said quietly, "prepare a boarding party for any disabled Krelgorian vessels. I want prisoners, especially commanding officers if possible." Mitchell nodded. "Yes, Madam President." As the battle continued, humanity pushed forward, not just fighting for survival now, but for victory. 2 weeks after the Great Battle, Ambassador Eric Johnson stood in the observation room of the International Space Station. Through the large window, he could see Earth's blue sphere below and the stars above. But his attention was fixed on the Krelgorian vessel approaching the station. Unlike the diamond-shaped warships, this one was oval and smoother, designed for diplomacy rather than destruction. It glided toward the docking port with precise movements. Eric straightened his formal suit and took a deep breath. At 42, he had spent his career building bridges between nations. Now he would build one between worlds. "They're docking." "Now, sir," said a young officer beside him. Eric nodded. "Remember, no weapons in the meeting room. We want to show trust." After the breakdown of the Krelgorian fleet, several commanders had surrendered. The most senior among them, called the Resonant One by its kind, had requested peace talks. President Walsh had chosen Eric to lead the negotiations. In another part of the solar system, newly promoted Admiral Olivia Summers oversaw repairs to the USS Defiant. The ship had suffered heavy damage during the attack on the Super Command ship, but had limped back to the Mars shipyards. Now workers swarmed over its hull, fixing the battle scars. "It'll be better than new when they're done," said Jack Harper, standing beside her on the observation deck. Olivia smiled. "It better be. The Krelgorian home fleet is still out there." Reports had confirmed that the remaining hostile Krelgorians had called for their home fleet, the largest and most powerful collection of ships in their empire. It was already on its way, though it would take another month to reach Earth. "Do you think the peace talks will work?" Jack asked. "I hope so," Olivia replied. "But we're preparing either way." Across the solar system, humanity continued to build defenses and improve their weapons. The knowledge gained from captured Krelgorian ships had accelerated human technology by decades. New ships were being built incorporating alien tech, and disruptor weapons were now standard on all vessels. Back at the space station, Eric Johnson entered the meeting room. 3 Krelgorians were already there. They were tall, slender, beings with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer with an inner light. Their 4 arms were folded in what intelligence suggested was a peaceful posture. The tallest Krelgorian stepped forward. "I am the one you call the Resonant One," it said, its voice musical and strange. "I speak for those who wish peace." Eric bowed slightly. "I am Ambassador Johnson. I speak for Earth and all human colonies." The meeting lasted for hours. The Krelgorians explained their society, built around harmony and order, led by those who could maintain the perfect resonance of their technology and social structure. For thousands of years, they had expanded across the stars, absorbing other species into their empire. "None resisted successfully," the Resonant One said. "All eventually accepted the harmony we offered." "Humans value harmony too," Eric replied carefully. But we also value freedom and diversity. Our strength comes from our differences, not despite them. The Resonant One's large eyes blinked slowly. This is what we failed to understand about your kind. Your unpredictability is not a weakness, as we believed. It is your greatest strength. Meanwhile, Dr. Eleanor Wright and Dr. Benjamin Russell worked with other scientists to understand the data collected from the captured ships. In a lab beneath lunar surface, they made a breakthrough. The entire Krelgorian society is based on resonance patterns, Ben explained to a group of military officers. Not just their technology, but their social structure, their communication, everything. Eleanor nodded. When we disrupted their command ships, we didn't just break their military chain of command. We broke their entire worldview. And that's why some of them rebelled? Asked General Mitchell. Exactly, Ben confirmed. The rigid hierarchy suddenly collapsed. Some Krelgorians have apparently been waiting for this opportunity for centuries. As the peace talks continued, humanity received an unexpected message. Ships were approaching, but not the Krelgorian home fleet. Instead, vessels of many different designs appeared at the edge of the solar system. They represented species from across the galaxy, all former subjects of the Krelgorian Empire who had risen up in rebellion after hearing of humanity's success. Your resistance has sparked hope throughout the Empire, the Resonant One told Eric. During their next meeting, systems that have been under Krelgorian control for centuries are now fighting for independence. 1 month later, when the Krelgorian home fleet finally arrived, they found not just Earth's enhanced defenses waiting for them, but a coalition of ships from a dozen different species. The fleet that was supposed to crush humanity instead found itself surrounded. The final battle was brief but intense. Admiral Olivia Summers led the combined fleet, using all the knowledge and technology humanity had developed. The Krelgorian home fleet, still believing in their invincibility, followed their standard tactics, which now played directly into the defenders' hands. Within hours, the remaining Krelgorian ships surrendered. The war that had begun with the destruction of Pluto Research Station was over. 6 months later, Earth hosted representatives from across the galaxy for the signing of the Galactic Cooperation Treaty. The Krelgorian Empire was transformed into a confederation of equal worlds, with Earth playing a key role in its new leadership. In the Grand Hall of the United Earth Government Building, Admiral Olivia Summers watched as Ambassador Johnson and representatives from 18 other species signed the treaty. "Did you ever think we'd end up here?" asked Dr. Eleanor Wright, standing beside her in a formal uniform. Olivia shook her head. "When they first appeared, I thought humanity might be finished. But we did what humans always do. We adapted. We innovated. We survived." The Resonant One, now serving as the representative of the reformed Krelgorian government, approached them after the ceremony. "Our fleet was supposed to be invincible," it said, its musical voice carrying a note of wonder. "In 17 conquests we never failed. We never imagined that the 18th species would not only defeat us but help us become better." Olivia smiled. "That's another thing about humans. We don't just survive, we try to build something better from the challenges we face." As the celebration continued, reports arrived from deep space explorers. Strange signals had been detected from beyond the edge of known space, possibly a new civilization or perhaps a new threat. The Resonant One turned to Admiral Summers, its shimmering blue skin catching the light. "Something comes from the darkness, between galaxies. Something unlike anything we have faced before." Olivia met its gaze steadily, then looked around at the diverse gathering of species that had once been enemies and were now allies. "Whatever it is," she said, "we'll face it together."